Always design with function in mind. All right, I'm gonna take you through my process when I'm designing a kitchen layout. We're gonna do a basic L-shaped kitchen with an island. In fact, it's my own kitchen here in the house. The steps I'm gonna show you today will help you draft a floor plan that you can take to any cabinet maker for them to build your kitchen. Or if you're gonna build it yourself or install it yourself, you have a workable, accurate plan to go from. The best thing is you don't need any fancy design software or even an online design tool. All you need is a ruler, a pencil, and some graph paper that you can draw your kitchen plan on. Now, I recommend using graph paper for this reason. We're gonna use a 2x2 grid to represent 1 square foot. I recommend you doing it to scale as close as you can because it's a little more accurate when you're trying to lay out the particular sizes that you're looking for. You'll know how much space you have left for fillers or for panels, and it's a little bit easier when you're trying to transfer that into design software or a designer's trying to do that. The key is to do your best, not to do it perfectly, and that's what this tutorial is gonna help you do. Before you get started, you have to do the most important thing, in my opinion, in any design layout of any room, and that is to measure it accurately. If you get good measurements at the start, it will cut down on all the mistakes later on that will be made because of bad measurements. So do your best to get good measurements, and if you're not sure how to do that, I have a link in the description below to a video that I've already posted on how to measure a kitchen. And at the end of this video, I will link to that video just to help you out because measuring is so important. You have to get that part right. All right, let's turn you into a kitchen designer. The first thing you're gonna wanna do once you have your basic floor plan drawn, you have your walls in place, and you have your windows, openings, and obstacles, everything drawn on your floor plan, the first thing you wanna do is center your sink under your window. I know sinks aren't always under windows, but for the most part, in a majority of kitchens that I've ever done, most of the time the sink is under the window, and so for the purpose of this training, we're gonna put the sink there as well. It's also very important to know what size sink cabinet you're going with. Once you center that sink, then you'll know how much space you have to the corner and on the other side of your sink cabinet for other appliances and other cabinets. Once you have that sink base in place, centered under the window on your floor plan, it's time to move on. And the next place we're gonna move to is the corner. Now, most manufacturers have a 36 by 36 corner base, and I suggest that you use this to allocate those spaces for your corner. This can be changed later on. You may have a different size corner base, especially if you're going to, say, IKEA or somewhere else, but a 36-inch by 36-inch corner base is pretty standard. Then you move on to your corner wall space, which is normally 24 by 24 inches. And you want to set these so that you can work out from them when you start putting in cabinets and other appliances. The next thing you want to do is start placing your appliances. But before you do that, it is absolutely vital. Please listen, measure your appliances, especially your fridge. Fridges come in all different sizes, so it is very important that you either measure the fridge you have if you're using it, or find out from the manufacturer, which is very easy to do, just go online and find out the fridge dimensions that you're getting. When you are figuring out your fridge cabinet, allow for an inch extra of space for that fridge to slide in. This is one of the biggest mistakes that happens when we're designing kitchens. Take it from me, I've made the mistake a bunch of times myself anyway, and I know there's lots of you who have done the same thing. Measure that fridge and make sure you have it exactly the right size. All your other appliances are pretty standard, but it's a good idea to measure them anyway, and then you can start placing your appliances. And you're gonna wanna know the centers of those appliances so you know how much room you have to move them around your floor plan. Because you can't have your range plug here and your range over here. So you have to know the distance of where that range is able to move when you start putting cabinets on that floor plan. Once you have your appliances in the place where they're probably gonna be, and they might move a little bit here or there, but they're in place, you can start to add cabinets. And this is the fun part, and this is the part where you get to really make the kitchen that you really wanted. The rest of the stuff is I have to get it in there because I need to know sizes, but now I can really start adding cabinets that I want to add. There's 3 cabinets I try to put in every floor plan. I want to get a pantry in there, I want to get a 3-drawer bank in there, and I want to get a 4-drawer bank in there. The 4-drawer bank is great for utensils and cutlery and dishcloths and placemats and cookbooks and all that other stuff. A deep 3-drawer bank is great for dishes and pots and pans, And a pantry, I think, is essential, especially for food storage with pullouts for easy access. And after that, I try to put in other cabinets that are accessible and that fit the space well or complement the other cabinets that I'm putting in. It doesn't even matter the type of cabinet that's going in. What matters is that the space is allocated for those cabinets. So you'll know that you'll need a 30-inch space for a drawer bank, or you have 21 inches or 24 or 9 inches, like whatever it is. Drawing out the floor plan this way, putting things in place where they're supposed to be, gives you an idea of the size cabinet you're looking for. And this is very handy when you're trying to go purchase these cabinets yourself, if you're going to install them yourself, because you know exactly the sizes that are going to fit your kitchen. So there's no guesswork. There are a few guidelines that you should think about when you're drawing your layout and when you're designing your kitchen. You're going to want to allow for fillers, especially where a cabinet meets an end wall. This is very important because your wall is probably not square, plumb, or level. And when that cabinet meets it, it's not going to be flush, and giving yourself even an inch of space is definitely going to help when installing that kitchen. Think about the walkthrough where people are walking through that kitchen. Now, it's recommended that you have 42 inches from surface to surface if you're going, say, around an island. If you're going to have an appliance there, they recommend 48 inches, or 48 inches if it's a two-person kitchen. So in my kitchen here, my wife and I are in the kitchen together frequently, so I have 50 inches from the front of my sink to the front edge of my island to allow lots of space for the both of us to move around. And if the dishwasher's open, I can get around it without tripping over it, which in fact I've done even with the 50 inches that I've allotted. You're going to want to consider landing areas. That means counter space that you put things on after you take them out of the fridge or out of the sink or off the stove. There's certain minimums that we recommend you have for these landing areas. For instance, on a sink, it's recommended that on one side you have at least 24 inches and on the other side you have at least 18 inches of landing space to either put something there or for a drip pan or whatever. On a fridge, it's important that you have at least 15 inches when you're taking something out of a fridge that you can have access to counter space right away, either adjacent to the fridge or across the way on an island. And next to a range or a stove, it is recommended that you have at least 15 inches on one side and 12 inches on the other to allow yourself to move pots or for pot handles to swing around. It's never recommended to put a range next to a wall. It can be done, but I highly recommend you not doing it for a number of reasons. One, pot handles can't move. Two, it gets very hot on that wall. It's not recommended. And three, it doesn't look very good. So if you really need to, even then try not to. Knock the wall out or something. The whole time that you're designing your kitchen, you're going to want to think about accessibility and function. Always design with function in mind. What do I have and where's it going to go? You can't be random about designing your kitchen, and obviously the best person to design your kitchen is you, because you know the things you have better than anybody else. What are the small appliances you have? How much Tupperware do you have? Do you have 5 weeks worth of food in your cabinet, or do you shop weekly? Like, what are your needs and what do you have to have in this kitchen to make it work for you? So you're the best person to do that because you already know. So you're like, okay, I have a toaster, it's gotta go somewhere. I have like 15 spatulas, what am I gonna do with those? Think through the whole time that you're designing your kitchen. You don't want to just put in cabinets that look nice and fancy. You want them to be functional. Deal with fancy later. Let's get everything in the proper place and get a really nice functioning layout working. The next thing you're going to want to do is make a note of where all the fillers are going to be, because you should be able to see that now on your floor plan, and all the panels, fridge panels and island panels. Okay, you're going to want to make a note of that so that you don't forget to purchase them and that you understand that you do need space for those. And when you're finished, you'll basically have something that looks like this. It's a very simple floor plan, but it has all the right measurements, it has all the cabinet sizes that we need, and you could take this to any kitchen designer and they can provide for you a 3D rendering, or you can give this to any cabinet maker and they can build this kitchen exactly from this floor plan. They don't need anything else. The only thing left to do is to watch this video on basic kitchen storage solutions where I can save you $1,000 a year, and here's the video where you can learn how to measure your kitchen. Fridges come in all different shapes, and they don't come in different shapes, they're basically all rectangular cubes.